Good evening and welcome to the second episode of A Closer Talk. I'm Betty Vanlangendonck and I will be your host tonight. A Closer Talk begins where the BGO documentary Bring It to the People ended. We invite captivating personalities with a love for music and a strong involvement with Brussels Jazz Orchestra. Together, we have a closer talk about life and music. Through these informal interviews, we invite our guests to tell us more about their lives and their connection to Brussels Jazz Orchestra. Tonight, I'm welcoming Lies Martens. Lies has been working as an independent manager in the arts and cultural sector for more than 25 years. She's an art consultant who focuses mainly on the management aspects of cultural organizations. She has worked for dance companies, art festivals, theater companies, and workspaces for artists. She provides them with all kinds of advice, from helping them with communication to fine-tuning financial aspects or helping them decide on work regulations. Besides this, she has worked as a lecturer at several colleges, including Erasmus, the School of Arts, and Ritz in Brussels. Since 2018, Lies has been a member of the board of directors of Brussels Jazz Orchestra. Tonight, we will talk about half an hour, in which I will ask Lies all kinds of questions. But if you have questions of your own for our guests, you can post them in the comments and we will look at them later. For now, sit back, relax, and enjoy this second episode of A Closer Talk. Good evening, Lies.
Yes, hello, good evening.
How are you?
Yeah, doing well.
Yes? Okay,
Very well.
great. I just gave a short introduction to our audience just now, but could you tell us a little bit more about the different aspects of the job that you're doing?
Well, in fact, I'm working for different organizations and different kind of organizations. If speaking about arts, it's mainly dance companies and the musical sector, but also a lot in theory. So I assist the network in the arts. Like we said, I teach sometimes. If I work for dance companies and in the musical sector, most of the time I spend my time within the company. So it is mainly within an organization, an association. And it's to see what's the best way to make arts possible and mainly to produce arts. So set up productions, dance pieces, concerts, this kind of things.
Okay, if you're working for a dance...
And yeah, what I like a lot about me was you have you have different key holders, and to see that that you make possible with your different key holders that arts can be made possible, and that goes from the board to the subventional government to the artists, to the theater. So in fact, it's really communicating a lot with people. The other thing is that very often I'm busy with very concrete things, contracts, or see that my Excel presentation is readable, understandable, is correct, and so on. Yeah. So it's very different aspects, in fact.
Okay, I would like to go more into like a day at the production of a dance company. Could you describe us an average work day if you would work for them at their production, or what kind of tasks would you do for them?
Yeah, for the moment I have a big dance company. It's Vanlangendonck Theatre, based in Brussels. And the day is very different if I'm in the office, if the dancers are there, or if I work at my own desk. I need to work on my own desk if I need to write subvention applications, for instance, or to need a budget update, this kind of things. Okay. When I'm in the office, very often it's just ad hoc. There is a question, there is a need, there is a strange telephone call coming in. How shall we deal with that? So then I'm very available for other people. but I need to sit back really to enclose myself if I need the focus completely. Very often has to do with deadlines.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. So you have a whole lot of things that you did, but if you could choose one project or achievement that was the most challenging during your career, could you give us an example?
That's a difficult one, but I find it very interesting, also challenging, triggering sometimes to work really with other cultures. I've set up a dance performance with a Chinese dance company, was some years back, and that took a lot of my energy, a lot of my time to put those two different, was a Flemish dance company with a Chinese dance company, those two forces together, and to make one piece and to make that you understand each other. The contract was a hell to to negotiate this, and then finally the contract was signed. And then the manager of the Chinese dance company said, "Yeah, that can be. It is on paper, but I'm not interested anymore. From today on, we do like that." So that was rather challenging. And there you say, I had a very good relationship with this man because they have such an other culture, such an other background, where written things are not important. In fact, the dance company with whom I'm working now is a lot of African dancers from West Africa, and also there it keeps open my mind somehow. Somehow I'm obliged to reflect on how I'm doing, what I need to tell. Do they understand? Also learning new values, because I'm so based here in the law around arts and collective arts agreements, whatever, and they don't have this kind of thing. So you really have to deal with a complete other background, and I find it super interesting.
Yeah. Are there typical Belgian things that you took for granted that they really didn't know about?
Oh, it's not specifically Belgian, but European, let's say.
Yeah.
Because, and also my background, we come back on that later, I think. So I studied criminology, and in fact, that's a juridical study at university. So everything is so justified, and for everything you have arguments. You don't decide if it is not grounded, if it is not taking a decision, in a democratic way with the board, for instance. And you see that's not always working that way. With the African dancers, no, I'm really amazed somehow how they can deal. There's a problem, and okay, they're gonna fix it just like that. Like, oh, okay, yes, maybe I need more time because the board, for instance, but they really are so busy with helping themselves out. And that's also, that's I like to learn from that as well. So Belgian things, it's more European. That we have had the French Revolution, so a lot of things come from there. That everything needs to be justified and grounded.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, so with the justifying things, the European organizations like Brussels Jazz Orchestra have a board of directors. In what way have you, or can you use your knowledge and know-how on the board of BJO?
Oh, there is a lot of things, of course. Everything has to do with how do you organize the best circumstances so that the artist really can do his thing the best way. And I think a board, it starts already with bringing together the people. So it's good that not everybody has the same profile. Because you really need to listen from another view, to learn from another view as well. And the artist is a central thing, so it doesn't make sense to have a good board if the artist says, "Sorry, I'm not interested in how you deal." So you need to keep that in mind, and then everything has to do with how can we make it possible. There's different opinions. How can we bring that together so that that team gives you wings, in fact, that you become stronger together and that you can go further together. We have this Belgian, how do you say it, expression, l'union fait la force. So all together makes us stronger, and I really believe very hard in that. So all skills need to be present in a board of directors, in fact. And you need to have a good president that is able to guide all this kind of different opinions the good way, to the good direction.
Yeah. And does a director of a board has to have certain capacities besides guiding everything right? Or
it helps, of course, to have experience. And I was my first job in the arts sector, like you said, more than 25 years ago, was at Rosas, the famous dance company. They still were small and rather unknown at the time. It was just after the European Cultural Capital of Antwerp in 93. And now I lost what I wanted to say.
The capacities of a good director of a board.
And so you build up experience in all this kind of different environments. And rather soon I was asked to be present as a member of a board, and I said yes. I have said a lot yes in my career, just because I'm very curious and I want to learn, keep eyes and ears open. And all this kind of different experiences help, I think, to be a board member. But so, yeah, you need to start somewhere. So it can be an advice to artists. I say it sometimes in my lesson: just jump and go for it, and then, while you do it, you will learn. You will learn from it.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you remember the first time you heard about Brussels Jazz Orchestra, or the first time it was on your radar?
Yes, I must say, also a long time ago, as your manager, Koen Maas, we have somehow the same trajectory, busy the same length of career, I think, in the art sector. And there's a very good network that unifies all arts organizations. It's called OCO, Overleg Kunstenorganisaties. So in Belgium, we have two cultures. This is the Dutch-speaking cultures in Flanders, OCO, and I got to know Koen there. And it was the first time, I think, that I heard about Brussels Jazz Orchestra, but I must admit it's a very long time ago, so my memory, not sure if I didn't know BGO before or that was the first time. But anyhow, then specifically I saw what BGO was busy with, and I got to know their artistic director and following what they were doing, yes.
Yeah. And so you joined the board afterwards, but does music in general play a huge role in your life, or in what way does it play a role in your life?
Yes, a very important role, in fact. I must say, when I'm at home, I don't have that often music in my living room or in my sleeping room. I also like the silence and just hear the city. I live in the city center of Brussels. So that's less of an interest, although I have tons of CDs. I have it very often in the car. If I drive the car, I take my ears to run also. But especially I like live concerts, because this is really an extra dimension. And for those who don't know, you cannot explain how important it is, because besides of just listening to the music, admire the skills, and in case of an orchestra, to give place to an individual player, but also to see, wow, each individual player is part of the group, and it brings the group together higher up. So that is very important. But besides of this, it's also a lot of energy, and that's really the special facet of a live performance. That in case of an orchestra, but dance as well. Very, very often, music is playing a huge role in there, because on that music you make the dance moves. So yes, it is playing an important role, also professionally.
Yeah. So now you're generally working in the art world, but you mentioned before that you studied criminology, which is a whole other kind of study. So could you tell us more about how you made the switch from your studies to your job now?
Yeah. In fact, I was somehow, how do you say it? I only knew one part. My mother was a professional musician and singer, so I only knew the part of music. So it was so clear. I went with her to music class and so since I was 3 years. It was so clear when I was 18. Of course, I would study something in music, and I think it kind of I don't know what. Okay, it was so clear and so evident. No, let's do something else. And so I've been taking informations, and I knew somebody that studied criminology. And what me interested very much was the fact that it is a cross point of juridical things, statistics I liked a lot during the study, but also the social facet. And especially everything that had to do with freedom, that came a kind of fixation for me. The crossover of different kind of sciences and philosophy, psychology, all this kind of things. So I find that's very interesting. And so I finished university and I came back to the arts sector. So my mom was right.
Eventually, she was right.
Yeah.
Okay, and so you chose for the art world eventually, but what intrigues you mostly in this world? What are the most fascinating things to you?
When I started at Rosas, I was in fact not known with the inside of the artistic world, what happened behind the scenes. But rather soon I discovered that it made me happy, and I was very curious about what's happening. So of course, I saw a lot of Rosas performances, but I saw also theater, concerts, and so on. And I really had a reflection. Yeah, arts make me happy somehow. It broadens up my world. I get to know very interesting people, interesting talks. The scores, for instance. Okay, why is it built up that way? How does it have a place in this time frame? And so on and so on. So it really, gives me another kind of experience in my own life. And since then, I was convinced that's my world. I just want to be there.
Yeah. So music and art makes you happy, and you said before that the power of music comes mostly when you look at a live concert. But momentarily, due to the consequences of COVID-19, we can go to concerts. Have you experienced the consequences of this yourself in the last month?
Yeah, it's very clear that I miss kind of the heart, what it is about in our sector. And not only because I support artists, I try to organize things, but besides of that, I go a lot to theaters, to concerts, to festival. I don't have a television,
Okay.
so I'm several evenings. You could find me in a theater. It has a strong social aspect. It was somehow making yourself up to go out, looking forward to something, to have the vibes like, you read about it. Yeah, that's really a thing that I want to see. Curious what they made out of it. And then you come in the theater, the vibes of the public also together. It's kind of energy in between people that's so strong. Meeting friends, discussing afterwards, talking afterwards, learning new things. Sometimes also hard things, because sometimes you have political theater, or you are confronted with hard pieces. But always there is something that intrigues me and that helps me further to reflect, to learn, to be happy, to all this kind of things.
And now you can't do that.
That's really very, very hard nuts. Yeah.
How do you think this period will affect our future or experience with culture, for example?
I especially hope that we can return to normal as soon as possible, or that we find a way to deal with it. Or sometimes I even think, okay, what kind of risk are we able to take in order to go to theater? So, of course, I will be prudent, like wash hands, gel, masks, and so on. But I think I would love to return to your theater, and I wouldn't mind to sit next to somebody else, like I do now in the street or in the shops. So that's my first thing. I cannot imagine that it would not be there anymore. I really cannot imagine. So I hope this is over as soon as possible. At the other side, I must say, I was living kind of a hectic life, a lot of travel, a lot with other people, a lot of stress, deadlines, and so on. And that became calmer. So also this, I'm very aware of it. And I really try to be conscious about it. That is a special period.
Yeah. Okay. So last question of me, at least, because after this, we're going to take a look at the questions that came in through the comments on Facebook. How do you see the art sector evolve in the coming months and year? Will audiences experience theater or concerts in a different way? Do you think perhaps maybe they will program more online things in together with the live concerts?
I think that has had a boost, definitely. Especially with what you do in BGO. You have you make a fabulous work there to keep contact with the public through a digital way. Also, dance performances was not used before. Now you see a lot of dance and theater performances online. So that's definitely good. But I really hope that we can return as soon as possible back to normal, because you need the live. We are in the live performance, and as such a specific thing, you just need it. One of our dancers was dancing in the street, and it was filmed by somebody else, and it made me so happy to see him again performing. To have that to see how was that was going.
Yeah, let's hope we can go back to that very soon.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to check if there are questions. No questions so far. Okay.
Everything was clear.
Yeah, apparently. So to conclude this second episode, we'll now press play for the favorite BGO track. So Lies, could you tell us a bit more about the track you have chosen?
Oh, it's a piece out of I Have a Dream from BGO, and how is it? That's recomposing on a number of Sting. Is a title, We Dance Alone.
They Dance Alone?
They Dance Alone, yeah. And in fact, that piece has everything in it what I'm looking at, what I like to see in a music or in an arts piece. I Have a Dream, of course, is a very strong title, and we have it from Martin Luther King. I think you made it because he died 50 years ago or so, some years ago. Yeah, and he was, of course, a very strong performer. He was very strong to communicate in it. But also, I Have a Dream. I think we must cherish that dream. We all need dreams, because that gives you passion, motivation, love to live a life that is above the just normal standards, to be conscious about it. I also liked very much, and that I very often search in art pieces, the crossover that BGO made of it. So recomposing a song from Sting, but putting Tutu Puan on a stage as a singer. She's a very strong singer, actress. I saw her in other pieces. She's a very nice and wise woman, and that really gives me energy and gives me a new view on things. So it has, in fact, everything in it. And when I saw that it was together with Amnesty International, as a student, I was part of their writers group, criminology, freedom of speech, to release prisoners that had another opinion. So it has a lot of elements in it. Yeah.
Okay, great. Before we listen, I'd like to thank everyone who watched tonight, and thank you very much, Lies, for being with us this evening.
Thank you, and success further with BGO.
Thank you very much. Bye. Don't forget to like our pages on Facebook and Instagram and spread the word. Have a great night, everyone.
Why are these women here dancing on their own? Why is there this sadness in their eyes? Why are the soldiers here, their faces fixed like stone? I cannot see what it is that they despise. They're dancing with the missing. They're dancing with the dead. They dance with the invisible ones. Their anguish is unsaid. They're dancing with their fathers. They're dancing with their sons. They're dancing with their husbands. They dance alone. They dance alone. Is the only form of protest that they're allowed. I've seen their silent faces scream so loud. If they were to speak these words, they'd go missing too. Another woman on a torture table, what else can they do? They're dancing with the missing. They're dancing with the dead. They dance with the invisible ones. Their anguish is unsaid. They're dancing with their fathers. They're dancing with their sons. They're dancing with their husbands. They dance alone. They dance alone. One day we'll dance on their graves. One day we'll sing our freedom. One day we'll laugh in our joy. And we'll dance. One day we'll dance on their graves. One day we'll sing our freedom. One day we'll laugh in our joy. And we'll dance. Reap in a share, you've sown a bitter crop. It's foreign money that supports you. One day the money's gonna stop. No wages for your tortures, no budget for your guns. Can you think of your own mother dancing with her invisible son? They're dancing with the missing. They're dancing with the dead. They dance with the invisible ones. Their anguish is unsaid. They're dancing with their fathers, and they're dancing with their sons. They're dancing with their husbands,